Friday. It is still dark outside. According to my clock, it's about 15 after 7. I think it's a little later in game time. We're starting a little bit early, but that is from necessity. We have a hot fix coming in this morning. It's supposed to hit about 9, which is a couple hours away, um, or less than that. So I wanted to be sure that we get in and stream before that, just in case something doesn't quite go right and the downtime extends longer than they anticipate. I wanted to kind of make sure that we at least got to do our stream this morning. So I apologize for those of you that usually hop in around our usual start time. And that you might miss a little bit, but I'm going to start with my stuff for today's CBDC showcase. So most of that you will have already seen if you've been following along anyway, so it's not going to be like you missed a whole lot. Hey Bones, good morning. So yeah, today is our kind of routine, or we've been trying to make it a routine showcase day for the CBDC. The CBDC is the Custom Built Decor Challenge. It's a monthly challenge I issue out to fellow builders and myself. It's not a competition or anything. It's just a casual, friendly kind of activity that I thought I would share. It's something I used to hold for the guild that I belong to. Um, and I've just decided to expand it to encompass anyone that wants to participate. Some months have more activity than others. It just depends on a lot of factors, the busy real life of some, in-game activities that might be going on, if people get sick, and of course, probably the biggest factor is if the theme of that month actually interests um, uh, other builders. So uh, again, it's a voluntary thing. It's not a have to, and a lot of them will build it and then scrap it afterwards and then build something else for the next one, and that's perfectly fine. Others find ways to incorporate what they make into existing builds, or they build a whole new plot just for that, which is also very welcome. But it's completely up to you how you participate, how extensive, if it's going to be just a small project, a large project. Of course, it's open to both factions, both regions. I have access to all of that, so it's been pretty interesting to see all of the things that people come up with. Well, this month's CBDC theme was fairy tales, and I just kind of left it open to their interpretation as if they wanted to do a classic fairy tale, one that's less known, and how they represented it, whether it was through props and costumes, if they wanted to build an entire scene. Um, just I kind of just wanted to leave it that way. Thanks for the host, Bones. I appreciate that. I wish I knew about more how that works. I might actually host some others, but I'm afraid to tinker with any of my controls because just as soon as I do, something's going to blow up. As it is, I've been worried for about the last week. One of my screens has been giving me troubles, and I just know that it's just going to poop out, and I'm going to be left back to the one screen thing, and that's going to be very difficult to work with. Anyway, so we've got several homes to visit today. We're going to kind of try, I'm not going to try and rush through them. I'm going to try and take my time, but we do want to pay attention that at 9 a.m. my time, the realms will be coming down. In fact, we'll probably be starting to get realm notifications shortly before that, so that'll kind of give us our heads up that things are getting ready to go down. I don't remember what the hot fix is actually about. Let me see. Something about fixing an issue with Tua portraits. So leave it to the Dommies to mess up our morning. Oh, is that what that is? I've seen the little manage auto host thing, and it says recommended, but I don't really check it. All right, well, I'll take a look at it maybe this weekend and see about setting a few up because I know of some others that might be helpful to put in there. Okay, so we're like I said, we're going to start on mine. That way, if any others that would expect me to be on later might not miss some of the better stuff. So we're starting on Turnip's Plot. This is where I started a kind of a clothing shop slash seamstress slash tailor thing, however you want to call it. And I started with costumes. We're not going to really look at all of the stuff that's in here. We're just going to be looking at that's which is really pertains to the theme at hand. So the first thing we're going to look at is the Pinocchio puppet or marionette or however you want to call it. Um, I didn't even bother attaching his little holder to the ceiling here, which is probably a little weird, but he was kind of a fun thing to try and come up with. It was awkward in some ways because some of the items are pretty restrictive on how you can use them, like the rocket for his hat. It's I think it's the green one, and it has a yellow top, and that's what I wanted to use. I was going by a actual visual reference for a Pinocchio puppet, so I was using the colors that was in that particular picture. As I noted when we were fixing it on the stream, um, there are many versions. It's the same way with a lot of the dresses that I made and other things. There's various versions. Pick one that you like and then try to replicate that. So the red for him, including his suspenders, his little shorts, and his shoes, that's all Chua pillows. His main shirt is a yellow pillow, just several of them bunched together. His extremities, the arms and legs, those are metal-edged 2x4s. And then we have snowy clumps for his hands, a thorny log for his tattletale nose there. The hat, as I said, is a one of the fireworks with a green band made of green pillows, and then the little feather in his cap is a couple of the red rockets. It's actually a white body rocket with a red tip, and I just used the tip, several of them together to try and get that tapered look. And of course, 2x4s and chains for his little bit. The positioning of the chains aren't even in the right places, but I tried. It was kind of an awkward thing. I see. The bow, his blue bow, is of course another type of firework rocket, the blue one. His facial features and head. The head is exile domes, uh, and then snowy clumps for the mouth and eyes. The eyes, the pupils are just part of the dome showing through. I just pushed it in enough so that part of that was showing. I think that's it for him. Um, Nothing super fancy. It doesn't look totally like what I was trying to build, but I think it's recognizable enough, especially with the nose. I think folks will understand that that's supposed to be Pinocchio. This gown here, it's supposed to be on like one of these dress dummies, as if a seamstress is putting together a garment for a customer. And these are some of the gowns that I put together. This is the Frog Princess gown, based off of the actual Disney film for, I think Tiana is the name of the girl. It's supposed to be the one that kind of looks like a flower or a plant that she's wearing. So we've got two layers of ruffled skirt. Uh, Basically, it's just a bunch of white drapes. It's kind of the same thing I used for the ballerina in the past and to making some hats and things. I just used that particular shape to make the little hoop and sized it up to extend it. And then I made another copy of that, flipped it upside down, and that's what the collar is made out of. Um, the adornments for the dress are the new lily pad leaves, what they call long leaf pad, from the waterfall decor pack that comes from the shop. I had gotten it for this particular plot since this is about the only one that I have an actual waterfall working on it. And so I thought, well, those leaves look like kind of what's on her dress. So it's just a bunch of them. I think it's like 10 of them all together, draped around front and back. And then I added a little flower. It's the snow flower, um, as an adornment for where the waist would be. Hey, Poi, good morning. Glad you can make it. Over here we have what I started with, which was the Snow White gown. But I ended up making two versions. One is kind of like the poofy, you got that like metal hoop underneath to kind of make it bow out. And then the other one's more of kind of just the classic gown, just tapered differently. But the rest is basically the same. I reworked the top a little bit, but not a whole lot. Basically, the bottoms of the dresses are bananas. You can see that it's just based on how I turned the banana that gave it the outie or the innie curve. The bodice of the torso of the dress is the blue rockets, the same thing I used for Pinocchio's tie. The shoulder poofies are sporty spheres with red rockets. Well, I think it's actually the dynamite. Yeah, the firework crate piece dynamite to make the. It's supposed to be a poofy fabric where it's got the little slits so that you see a different color fabric underneath, and that's what the red stripes are supposed to represent. Her high collar is, of course, a couple of plates, and like I said, you can see it looks like this one's actually taller than the other one, even though they're actually the same height. It's just a little kind of visual weirdness. But yeah, just kind of a strange thing. And then the last one is Cinderella's gown. Again, I was going off of a visual reference, so it's not exactly the same because I think the one I was looking at actually had some white ruffled bits in the front here, and I never could quite get it to work for me, so I just left it with the shoulder poofies, which is the snowy clumps, and then the gown itself is just made from lots and lots of the Loftite Formation blue. I just made a section, and then I just copied that section and kept copying it until I got the poofiness, the nice big full gown look that I was going for. So very simple stuff, easily obtainable pieces. Most everything here is straight off the housing vendor. Now I say that I did use a lot of the firework pieces. If you happen to miss out on Starfall, that event this year, it will hopefully come around next year so that you can unlock it. But yeah, whenever something like that comes in and they say, hey, it's going to unlock some decor, go for it because you never know when you might want to use those pieces. And I've used those firework pieces in a lot of things since they became available. So I'm very happy that I unlocked it. And one thing of note, once you unlock it, as long as you have it on your main or a character, as long as you're building with that character, you can access it on any plot that you have access to. And that I think goes for even if it's a roommate of someone, if they didn't unlock it and you happen to have, you can actually purchase it for them and they can use it on their plot even though it's not unlocked for them, which is very handy. I've done that on a few things, including daily login rewards. There was a few that asked for some access to like the cargo, what do you call them? Those little cargo holders, lifters, cargo lifter thingies. I got a few of those early for some folks that were needing them right then and couldn't wait till they unlocked it themselves. So Okay, so that's the gowns and Pinocchio from this plot. Now we'll move on to Parsley's plot. Now, Parsley's is specifically about the Snow White uh, story. For those that aren't familiar with Snow White, I think there's various versions depending on who you're reading. There's been many films made. It's essentially a queen who wants to be the most beautiful, and the girl is born and she is predicted to be even more so, and the queen is jealous, so she sets out to have the girl killed, and so on and so forth. And she gets buddied up with some dwarves, and they help her, and all that good stuff. So this plot was made especially for. I decided to set it up as a theater so that I could set up a scene that had a bit of the Snow White props and things that you might recognize, and that's why this plot exists. I decided to go ahead and fix it up. Now, a lot of the stuff at the beginning doesn't really have anything per se to do with the fairy tale, but I'm going to quickly go over it because it's some of the stuff that I built off camera that a lot of you haven't seen yet. So I wanted to just kind of quickly mention what it's supposed to be, because after the show, I will be opening up the plot and you'll be welcome to come and visit. But it's currently still closed. I forgot to open it, so my bad. So right off the bat, we have the little ticket and concession stand. I decided to make it a triple, almost like a clover kind of shape. You have the drinks on this end. You have the tickets on this one. And you have the hot pretzels on this side. I kind of struggled with using NPCs. I was hesitant to do that, but I have so many crammed in my bank, I needed to make some room, so I've decided I would go ahead and use them here. Um, I wasn't sure what this one looked like, and when he popped out, he had that funny looking helmet, so I decided to give him these spicy, potent uh, buckets of goo that you would use for, like, I guess a dipping sauce or something. And I'm kind of going on the theme that maybe it's not quite healthy, a little piquant or something. And I've even shrunken him. He's actually sunk down inside the bit, and I've made him kind of like a midget himself, little short person. I gave him some shoes so that it looks like he's got his feet right there. It's just something goofy I did. I don't know why, but that's what it is. But the pretzel is made out of the very bottoms of the palm trees. I will see if I can show you right there, the very bottoms. It kind of look like, if you look at it really close, it looks like little salt bits. It's actually like the barnacles or something that are on the base of the tree. And I thought, that looks like salt. So I decided to make a pretzel out of it. Um, you'll see that I added a little roping to kind of say this is for personnel only. Those are just made out of the red dynamite, again, something again I use a lot of. Um, Added some clumps of flowers. I think it was Cheeky that first showed us the tips of the octoweed having those nice pretty purple flowers, and it kind of goes with my custom built trees. I've been a player of World of Warcraft for a long time now, and Legion has just come out, so I've been kind of tinkering with that, and I really like some of the trees in a couple of the zones, and this is kind of my homage to that. This is a ton of decor though. I don't know exactly how many pieces altogether. I think it's like 30 something pieces of these purple star flowers per strand. And then there's several strands per clump. And then there's several clumps. So you can just imagine how many pieces that might be. The base of it is actually the dry logs. Um, several, I think it's like 5 or 6 pieces of that to make the base of the tree. And then I just added the streamers on there. I've added picnic areas. The one basket is the fireworks crate. Again, those fireworks, I use them a lot. I just put in a couple of fruit bowls end to end, so it makes it look like it's packed with food. Over here, I made a wedge of what I hope to be recognizable as a wedge of watermelon. It's basically chua pillows, green pillows, and vent tanks for that little wedge of grub. Over here, again, just basic cushions and blankets and stuff. This is from the decrepit couch. It's just that one little piece showing. Then you move up over the hill. That gets you to the stage. I'm probably going to add more to this particular plot, but I just kind of wanted to get it in a kind of ready state for those that might want to visit after the show. So this is the stage setting here. You have your bleachers where everybody sits, and the idea is that once you have it set up, you can quickly and easily change the scene depending on if you want to be indoors, outdoors. I figured if someone was really smart and they wanted to use this idea, they can use Katya's interactables to kind of switch. They could switch this out completely with a different set that has a front and a back, and do that multiple times and just work through an entire play with different scene setups. I think that would be really fun to do. I'm not that smart to figure that out very well. It was amazing that I was able to do this even. So we have it set automatically at the outside scene. So this is the cottage of the doors. Yes, it doesn't have a front door. It's supposed to be the side of the house so that the front door would be on one of the others. So it just kind of allowed me to avoid making it. It's mostly 2x4s, a little bit of boardwalk pieces. The fake trees and bushes are green pillows and 2x4s. The little apple here is, again, one of those lovely dynamite fireworks. A green pillow for the leaf, and a thorny brown log for the stem. It's a little oversized, obviously. I mean, it's like as big as her head, but that's on purpose. You know, a lot of props that you see at school plays and such, they're a little exaggerated because if you make them too proportional correctly, then the people in the audience really can't see it. So it's a little oversized to allow people to say, hey, there's an apple there on the ground. So then if we flip it to the other one, that gives us the interior of the cottage where the dwarves have their 7 beds, which is made out of assorted pillows, Oran leaf window, picnic table for the base, Oran tree tables for the dining table, upside down flower vases for the stools. The piano, the pipe piano or whatever, is made out of lots and lots of books. Both, just everything is books. Even the book is a book. Imagine that. Fireplace is a bar, and same way with the countertop, it's a different bar. Water trough for the sink, and cheese boards for the doors. Very simple stuff. I just wanted to kind of make, it looks a little wonky, but that's, again, it's on purpose. It's supposed to be a simple set. It's just like the trees. I could have used real trees, but the idea is you want it to look fake, as if it's a prop for a little theater production. Then we go down in to the dressing room area for the actors, and some of you will notice that I've added some things since the last time we showed this. So we have the seating area for those that are maybe waiting their turn at the tables, want to read over their lines, that kind of thing. I've just added some couches. It's basically the orange easy chairs with a giant red moon vent here. Uh, Posters, both as the edges and the images. I've just blocked off the text. So it's like supposed to be old productions that they've done maybe to capture that. Um, so with the dressing tables, the way I did it was I wanted to give each main character type its own little table. Um, so like here is the huntsman's. There's his hat made out of grain sacks and a little bit of red curtain for the feather. We've got his knife, the thing that he was going to use to cut out Snow White's heart as proof that she was dead. Um, we've got his boots. They're made out of cardboard boxes. And his jerkin, which is a green pillow, the not sandbags, the grain sacks again, and then 2x4s and metal-edged blocks and such for his belt and little strap thingies that they have. I've added some extra details like a lot of different clothing bits. There's a belt. That's just the bed of the Grannoch. And I have it just completely sunk into the wall so that you only see that little bit that I want you showing. This is the garage themed dresser. It's 3 of them, and this one is just turned in opposite directions, so you see the other pocket. So it looks like just various clothes and things that the actors might use. This one is just a general table. You might recall the first makeup kit that I made. It was like little lines of color, and I decided that looked wrong, so I made round ones instead. It's basically the same kind of setup with the flower pod, um, the blue pod planter. I just added a poster as like a flip top since it already had the hinges from the planter itself. Excuse me. And then I just used rounds of various colors. This fireworks. That one's the Marauder fan. This one's the orange bottle. That kind of thing. And of course, mops for the brushes. I also added a hair dryer contraption. It's just the clunky fire extinguisher for the hose part, a utility crate for the main parts, 2 of them together, and then 2 cups for the nozzle bit. I also added a round brush. It's basically just several sets of stairs together with a ornate fence post as the handle. For the dwarfs, they have to share their table. So the first one is the red-capped one. He's got his little fake beard. It's just those snowy trees clumped together with a hanging wire. He even has a tissue box that's just a bottle upside down and then a curtain stuck in there. You'll also notice he's got his little pickaxe because the dwarves are like little miners or whatever. That's just, I think it's 4 or 5 hammers stuck together to make that little look. And you'll see them scattered around. There's actually 7 in the room. There's 2 here. There's 1 over here in this closet area. There's 1 on the couch leaning. So there's 7. Just the same way with the caps and the beards. There's 7 each of those. Most of them are over here. I gave them all different colored hats. And then they've got their 7 beards. And I've also made them 7 pairs of dwarf shoes. Those are just the Falcon fence posts, just sunk in so that it looks like a little shoe in the pointy shoe. And then grain sacks for the top of the little boots or whatever. Moving on, we come to Snow White's dressing table. She's got a hand mirror, which is basically the picture frames. Oops. Ugh, this thing never wants to go the right way. There we go. The picture frame is the one that has the beer on it. I'm just using the one as the mirror itself. I added one of the cheese wedge blocks for the handle. She's also got her wig, so we've got the Malvolio bust, which I've used in several places. He's also the face in the mirror that the Queen uses, and her crown's on top of the other one. This is Snow White's wig. I presume that maybe if it's me that's playing the role or someone else, they're going to have to cover up their original hair color, so they need a wig. So we made a wig. It's just a bunch of tires. She also needed her red little bow for the hair, so we made that out of Chua pillows. I also gave her a little stick of lipstick, if you can see it. It's, again, one of those red rockets stuck in there, and then a couple of vent tanks, just one kind of sunk down to look like it's the cap for the lipstick. I also gave her a bowl of apples, just kind of as extra. It felt kind of empty, so it's just several of the fruit bowls together, and then I added some like little vase flowers or something for her. For the Queen's table, she's got a brush and comb set. Again, the cheese block with wheatgrass for the bristles. The comb is a staircase with trimmed in 2x4s. Her crown is several of the charming bars, and then I added some Hugel portraits to try and give the little points that her crown has. I also built her a heart box. It's the box that she would give the huntsman to put the heart of Snow White in, which he apparently tries to trick her by putting in a deer heart or something. But if you're not familiar with what the heart box looks like, just Google it up. You'll see that I tried to stick with the coloring as much as I could. It's basically the blue fountain firework piece for all of the inlaid decoration on the sides. Hugel portraits for the heart. There's 3 of them together. I put one on the top, a little bigger, mostly because at a distance you really can't see this one. And then it's just a sword. It's supposed to be like the sword going through the heart. And then the red box itself is just lots and lots and lots and lots of wall exile flavor. Probably not the easiest way of building that kind of box, but I wanted to keep as close to it as possible from the image. So if you Google it, you'll see why I did it the way I did. And then last but not least is the Queen's outfit. It's not exact, but it's kind of reminiscent of it. It's got her high collar made out of plates. Her black cape is tires. Her red belt thing is, again, the fireworks dynamite. And then her purplish gown is all purple pillows, the long ones. It was very awkward. It looks more like it's designed for a grand-onk lady. It's a little chunky in the hip and everything. But I tried to give it some curves so that it looked like more feminine look bit, but whether I succeeded or not is probably an entirely different thing. As well, the last thing I guess would be I did move one of the Snow White dresses over here to fit into the clothing closet. I think that's it. There's a lot of other details, but if you want to know more about that, you can just watch some older videos because a lot of that doesn't really pertain to the theme at hand. Okay, so the next one will be one of our viewers' contributions. We'll be going to Bones's first. This is on Wilf Wellesby, and From what I gather, this is to be, yeah, pull up a thingy here. This is to be the party tree from The Hobbit. Um, Bones, unfortunately, wasn't able to finish it, so we're supposed to think of it as this is them getting it ready. They're prepping it for this special occasion. Um, and for those that aren't familiar with the party tree and what it is, I looked up a couple of descriptions of it. It's like the gathering place where they hold their festivals, important birthdays like Bilbo's 111th or whatever. Um, it's like a central kind of focal point for the little Hobbit community, and that's what this is about. So the tree itself is several olive trees, I believe, to make this nice big um, representation of the party tree. I think the poles for the party lights are actually some of those firework bottoms. They come like a bottle rocket and they've got a stick. I think that's what those are. It could be something else. It could be a tree, one of the empty trees. I can't think of the name of it, but it could be bottom of that. If you don't have access to either one of those, you could probably use mop handles, um, sparking wires with the spark part stuck into the ground if you want. But then they've just draped the party lanterns across for that. Now, if that's an actual prop altogether, I'm not familiar with it. Here's a little keg that they made. It's basically two of the, oh, what do you call it? The vintage beer mugs, I think, head to head to make this nice little keg. Hammer handle for the spout, and then a feeding trough, it looks like, to hold it. You can see they've been using a lot of the picnic tables. Great way to showcase the celebratory cupcakes. And of course they have the Hobbit house over here, which looks like a couple of the new Protostar Insta-Hills kind of blended together, using the Draken walls for the curve of the house, and then topping that with overgrowth to kind of cover it up. A couple of exile domes for the round door. Obviously it's a faux Hobbit house, but it still looks pretty amazing. It would be great if we could build it like that, but and still keep it functional. But yeah, how many trees? I have no idea. Bones, how many trees was that? It looks like one, two, looks like three to me. Might be four. 3, 4, 5, somewhere around there. I don't know. I don't know how many. It looks great though. If you look at the pictures, if you look up Party Tree Hobbit, you see it and it looks very close. I forget which one Bones was actually wanting to use, but it's one that costs way a lot. So this is a fun alternative. And that's what I like, being able to use items that most people can get access to and still make something pretty unique and fun out of it. Yeah, it does. It does. I really like the base of it. This part here, how it's set up together. This is actually the tree I used for Melon's plot to base his metal tree off of. I used that particular trunk as the shape. Okay, so that's Bones's. Next is Rosie's. That would be Poi, or not Rosie, Roxy. They're so close. Rosie, Roxy, it's just one letter off. Now, Poi decided to go with Rapunzel. And for those not familiar, a quick kind of, um, again, the fairy tales, they have various versions depending on who's telling them, who wrote them, if you're going by the movie version, that kind of thing. Um, According to the one that I'm looking at from the Wikipedia, it's a lonely couple wanted a child, um, and they lived next to the garden of this evil witch that would be Gothel. And the wife, during her pregnancy, gets these odd cravings and wants one of the plants that is in the garden of this witch lady. And it's called Rapunzel, or in some stories, it's translated to Rampion. Um, so the husband sneaks in, gets the plant for the wife. She eats it, but she enjoys it so much she wants more, so he keeps going back to do it, and Gothel catches him. And he begs for mercy, and she says, okay, I'll be lenient, but the catch is, if I give you the plant, you have to give me the child. And something about he agrees, so the Gothel ends up taking the girl to raise her as her own, puts her in a tower, uses her hair, climb up and down, and Prince comes, and I don't know, one thing leads to another. She loses her hair for whatever, I think Gothel cuts it off or something, and the prince gets blinded, and they're like lost in the woods together, never seen. And then he hears her singing one day, and he finds her, and I guess somehow she either cries or kisses him or something, and it restores his sight, and they live happily ever after, kind of thing. Um, like I said, there's many versions, but most people will have an idea of what they're expecting with the Rapunzel thing. So Poi has set up on Roxy's plot called The Gardens, which we're going to have to tour again later. I kind of snuck around and was looking at some of the things that Poi's been putting on here. It looks pretty fun. So, but we're just going to focus on this for now. Now, usually there wouldn't be all these glass stairs. That's for my benefit, so that I can get up close to take some pictures and show you guys what is all there. But this is like the prince guy coming to, he's a little bald there, coming to rescue his damsel. The tower itself looks to be mostly Draken cylinders for the base, with some sandstone rocks all around it, with the fern bushes and such. There's a couple of those really pretty weeping, it's not weeping willows, but it's like a weeping bush. It's the purple ones. Those aren't very easy to come by. They're really nice though. The trim here is the mossy overgrowth with, you'll see these weeping flower cup patches. Whoops. Not only here, but along the ground as well. And even on her hair, I think. The hair, I can tell now from just the way the coloring works, depending on where you're looking. I believe it's the hay bales, the rounded ones, which you would imagine to look like yellow hay, but in the lighting that's on here, it looks more green. It looks like she's got mossy hair, which probably could work as well. And then it's got a little tuft of wheatgrass at the bottom for the loose hair. But it looks like Poise used the spring flowers to decorate her hair. I go up a little further. You can see that the tower itself has a couple of sections. There's the edge piece of the hover park pieces being used for the roof with files for the toppers. 2x4s, a lot of those for all of this trim along the base of each little tower section. Bowls for the bottom, multiple bowls. Really adorable looking little tower. All right, see you, Bones. Oh, poor Bones, late for work. He'll have to say, well, I was watching a stream. Let me sign you an excuse note or something. Okay, so I'm trying to get a good shot of the building part. Look at all that detail there. Looks like either Orin or Exile pillars for the little beams on that side. Merc Dynamite for the framing of the window. And then I love how the curls, the hair on the mannequin is also the hay bales, like two big curls, and then it just kind of extends down to this long rope of hair. I think it worked really well. I mean, considering, we're kind of limited on pieces, I think you did really well on using that. It's just the color looks a little off. You expect it to be yellow and it's not. I don't know if it's the lighting. What sky are you using? Oh, it's the Shades Eve one. Well, that probably has something to do with it. Myself, I probably would have went ahead and went with something green just to go with it because the clash of colors here is a little funny. But I love the look of it. It's very pretty, and adding the flowers is, I think, even in the film, the recent film, they had flowers in her hair when the little girls braided it for her. But I love that. The tower itself, though, is awesome looking. Much better looking than the one I did. Especially with the moss. The moss really adds a nice touch to it. So that is Rapunzel's tower. Very pretty. Again, we'll probably be coming back to this plot once Poi is done with it to show the rest of the goodies. But I don't want to spoil it right now. So the last one we're going to visit is Pyrotechnic. Now this is a last minute kind of thing, and I say that and then you look at it and you're like, what? Maddie apparently has been dealing with a sick kid, and only just recently as like midnight last night, had a chance to work on something for the CBDC. And this is just an indication of, you have some builders that may take months to cough up something that looks awesome, and others can do it in a matter of hours. Maddie's one of those for the latter. So this one is based off of what they call it? I had to Google it up because I wasn't familiar with the story myself. It's called The Wolf and the Seven Young Kids. Now, it's play on words for the kids because it's a goat family. In Maddie's case, they used WildStars. And the story is a mother goat leaves her 7 children, at home while she ventures off into the forest to find food. And she warns them that there is a big bad wolf that will try to sneak in and eat them. And she says, you'll be able to, don't open the door for anyone else unless it's me, and you'll recognize that it's me if you hear the nice soft voice and see the white feet. And if it's not those things, then it's not me, so don't open the door. So the mama goes off, and of course the big bad wolf shows up and gives himself away at first because of the gruffy voice, and the kids realize it's not their mom, so they don't let him in. He goes away, short while later, he comes back and he uses the soft, delicate voice. And it fools them sort of, but then one of the kids looks under the crack of the door and sees that the feet color are wrong. It's not white, but black fur or whatever. And so again, they don't let him in. So the wolf goes away. He uses, I don't know, flour or something to disguise the color of his paws. So he comes back, has the soft, sweet voice, has the white color paws, and it fools the children. They let him in. He gobbles all of them up but one. And then the mom comes back, discovers what happened, and asks the one that's left, to get her some needle, thread, and some scissors. They find the wolf all so stuffed full of kids that he can't move. She cuts him open, takes out the kids. They're all alive, miraculously. Sews him back up with rocks inside. He's really thirsty, goes to the river to drink, falls in and sinks because he's all weighted down with the rocks. It's kind of gruesome stuff told, as it says on the story. I'm sure if Disney did a production of it, it wouldn't be as awful sounding, but that's what the story is based off of. So Maddie's plot here, we won't be checking it all out, but Maddie had already built an underground theater that we've seen before, and then added the scene on the stage. So you'll recognize some of this, the theater itself, awesomely done, by the way. But the stage is now set for the scene of the children hiding from the wolf. So you've got the beds for their bedroom area. There's a window. It looks like a fireworks crate, just the top of it for the edging. The mossy overgrowth for the trees and such. And then either a vent bush or the top of that one from the red pot for the tree in the distance. A orange sconce for the sun. And I'm not sure what they're using for the blue, but it looks like either a book or maybe the exile table. Of course, white drapes for the curtain. For the couches, it's just the regular bench, granite bench, the plain one without the stone, and then they've topped it with Chua pillows to just give it a different look. You can actually sit in it. The trick of it, though, is obviously my character sinks into the cushions because the cushions normally wouldn't be there. It's the only kind of thing you have to kind of watch out for. Of course, the cabinetry is mostly hover part pieces with a little bit of granite floors. The countertop is the backs of some of those painting portraits. And of course, the grandfather clock is one of the Orin windows. It looks like the white firework with one of the bottoms of the tanks. It's either the tank or one of the landing pads, I can't remember, with the Merg dynamite as the handles. Don't know what they're using for the little number bits. Of course, glass and the Drake and Gong for the little weight things. Looks like pillars and 2x4s and such for some of the framework down here. Of course, the big bad wolf claw is from that taxidermy Malvarine, I think. You can see a little bit of the sword that's sticking out of his head through there. The door itself is a combination of the fireworks crate. You've got one facing one way for the trim, another facing the other way for the back part here, and then this is, I think it's the creative explosives or one of those being used there for that, for the lid for the door, and of course for the porthole window for that. And of course, there's 7 Rouse stars scattered throughout to represent the 7 kids. And of course, it's anyone's guess as to which one is actually the one that survives. Hey, Tiki, good morning. But yeah, it's a really lovely little scene. I love this theater, though. It really puts mine to shame because there's so much detail here. But yeah, it's an amazing place. So that's on Pyrotechnic from Maddie. If you want to come, as far as I know, these are all open to public, other than mine, which will be open to public right after this stream is ended. But yeah, that's it for the fairy tales. I hope you guys had fun coming up with some things to represent all of the little details. I know I had fun. I had so much fun, I just kept building junk for it. But yeah, it's just interesting to see how people interpret some of the stories, what they use for various props. You know, even the scenes that they choose to make. I mean, Maddie could have picked the one where the wolf is full with his belly open or something, made it really gory or whatever. But Maddie chose to do the one with the kids hiding in the house. So it's a little less dramatic. But you know, there's a hint of spooky with the claw coming around. Excuse me. So that is that. I will say I thank those that actually participated in this month's challenge. I know it was kind of maybe not the easiest to work with. And I know some of you have been pressed for time, and other things have come up, so I appreciate you at least working in some effort to put something together. Now remember, Monday I will be announcing next month's CBDC theme. Of course, it will be related to Shades Eve, as that's going to be our major holiday that we'll be celebrating in not just WildStar, but probably all games that we play. And I'm hoping folks will be willing to kind of work with it. Again, I'm going to leave it as open as I can as far as not restricting you too much as to what way you go with it. But we'll just have to see Monday if it's something that piques anyone's interest. It'll probably be the same for December as well with Winterfest, but I'm not sure what we're going to do for November. You know, normally I would probably say something for like Thanksgiving and stuff, but that's not really a worldwide kind of celebration. That's just an American thing. So I'm gonna have to figure out something else for that. Maybe just fall things in general. I don't know. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see what you guys put together, if anything. Okay, so it looks like we ended up pretty with some spare time, which is good. That way you guys can have a little bit of playtime before the hotfix lands. Oh, did they actually go ahead and close? They said they were going to leave it up for like data mining and stuff. I know the site itself hasn't been updated. All the other stuff that they had planned to do, you know, they were planning to really make it like the go-to place. But I think it was basically one person working on the whole thing, and they just kind of gave up. It's a shame, though. It's just like I think living in WildStar, it's been just kind of an archived website. But the last, oh, I'd say month or so, I've been having trouble accessing it. And I know that the guy that was working on it said that he was going to leave it up for, I think, till the end of the year. So I've just been kind of avoiding using it, trying to break myself away from it so that I don't miss it when it actually goes down. Yeah, I think that was the original plan, Poi. But the only thing I think that he's been doing is he has been doing the data mining occasionally. He will give us some sneak peeks on stuff. Now, maybe that's going to stop too, but I hadn't really heard. Yeah, it's a shame because uh, I know a lot of people don't like to be spoiled, uh, and having a place like, Wowhead or anything to go and get all the information. But a lot of us, it's just helpful to have that kind of stuff. A central place that you can go for guides, for videos, for information about, just basic stuff. And I don't think WildStar has any central place. It's very spread out. And there's been several attempts to kind of consolidate it, but everybody's so intent on protecting their own individual projects that they just couldn't work together, and it never came to be. I myself tried to get on part of that, and it just kind of fizzled because nobody wanted to work together. It was all just, they had their own ideas and their own priorities and goals, and they couldn't agree on what to do and the focus of the group. So it just kind of broke off, and now I don't think anybody's doing anything really. Um, it's like I said, it's a shame because I think it would be a very helpful, positive thing for the community. But yeah, it is, boy. The main things I check are the dev tracker, not the one that you access directly from the forums, but the one that you access from the actual official website. I use the dev tracker there. Of course, I follow all of the Twitter feeds. Um, and then I follow a lot of mainstream tweeters like Das Moose and uh, well, his is the only one that pops to mind, but I follow several of them that keep up with a lot of the news. Nexus Cupcake, I think, is another. Um, Chestnut with their group with uh, all the stuff that's it's usually, I think it's in a lot of NA people that I follow for that. And of course, I uh, just follow the forums in general, checking all of the bits. But it's usually the dev tracker that gives me any kind of like up to date stuff. But I also check, like the launcher and the news page itself. But following the Twitter and the dev tracker is probably the best two ways to stay on top of anything official, at least from WildStar. Because the dev tracker itself tracks not only tweets that they do, official posts that they do on the website, but it also tracks anything that they might drop into Reddit, which I don't actually use Reddit, but that's how I notice things on Reddit when those things pop up. Because they're very inconsistent when it comes to spreading news about a particular event that's coming up or a new addition to something that they've done. Sometimes they'll announce it all across the board. Sometimes they'll give us a sneak peek on one platform, and it's like days later it shows up somewhere else. So I follow all of it. But yeah, it's like I said, we really are missing some kind of a central um, focal point for the community. The forums, I know that they're there and everybody can use them, but they're so, I don't know, it's not exactly, we need that, but we need something else as well, some kind of information pool where everybody is linked together and it's like a one-stop access. But I don't know. Yeah, I think a lot of them have. I mean, I myself am playing WoW too, but I still keep track of everything in WildStar. And of course, I come here every day. It's just like some of my guildmates, or I should say former guildmates, since I'm not in a guild anymore, but They were like, well, we never see you. And it's like, I'm here every day. It's just my hours don't match theirs. And that was part of the problem, actually. But yeah, it's just kind of touch and go. It's like, I know this weekend is some kind of, um, or maybe it was last weekend. Is there anything going on this weekend? Gosh, I can't remember. Um, but like they do a lot of store updates, but I hate constantly advertising them because it sounds like we're just pawing for money. And so I usually only mention that has to do with housing stuff. But like they just updated the cosmic tier rewards. They added a bunch there. There's the update for the daily login rewards, and then of course we've got the ones coming for signature players starting next month, which will be good. Which was sad because I didn't see any housing stuff. But yeah, that's what it is, prestige. See, I don't really pay attention to that too much because I don't do the PvP, but I know other people do. And so I, part of that I used to do for my guild. I did like every day I would post all of the latest news, trying to keep people informed, but that doesn't work too much if the guild uh, members don't actually visit the guild website. So yeah, well, incentives never hurt. It's not going to incentivize me though, because I just don't like PvP. It's too, I get too panicky or hyped up about it, I guess, a little too overly excited. And I just, I already, smashed my keyboard playing anyway, but it becomes like awful when I'm in P. I just like, I'm cursing at the screen and just all, all over. Or that, or I spend a lot of time in ghost mode because I'm dead always. I'm like the first to croak. Were you used to be in it? Because I never have been. I played Guild Wars for a little while, and that has a lot of PvP in it. And sometimes I get lucky and actually down an opposing player, but most of the time it's just I spin dead. It's looking. I'm like the fodder that the team sends out to kind of distract the other team, and while they're killing me, then they can go do their thing. Oh, well, I haven't done. I did a few dailies the other day because I'm starting to go deplete my platinum reserve. I'm gonna have to start uh, doing some dailies to work that up again. Got to have that platinum for your housing fixed because I've been spending willy-nilly. I haven't really been paying attention, and like with those trees and stuff on Parsley's plot, it was like didn't realize how much I was spending on all the parts. It's like, oops. And of course, when it comes to crafting something, I usually just go ahead and buy the materials I need to craft rather than going out and farming the herbs and stuff. And that's kind of costly. But yeah, it's unfortunate that we don't have as an informed community as we probably could. But I sympathize too for those that have decided to move on because it's a lot of work to keep that kind of thing updated. Just a little bit that I contributed, it was pretty time consuming. Um, so I can't imagine the effort that was being put forth by those that were actually trying to run the sites. I was just a casual contributor to some of it, but the ones that were actually running it, that was just it's unreal to think of what all they were having to deal with because just my mornings, the time gets sucked up by catching up on tweets that people have been putting out, catching up on anything that was discussed in the forums. Because I check the housing section all the time. I check the general discussion because there's usually some stuff there. I check the bugs forum for any housing bugs that might have popped up. I uh, retweet a lot of stuff that people put out about housing, any progress they're making on their plots or things that they found that are coming, that kind of thing. But I'm also just checking general news, like trying to find out like the hot fix that's coming in today, or maintenance times, events that might be coming up, like the Prestige weekend this weekend. It's and by the time you go through all of that, then you get into checking your mail, sorting out your auctions, doing any dailies that you can squeeze in. Before you know it, half the day's gone. And I can't imagine those that have, in addition to that, those that are working on their podcasts or their video making, like just it would be unreal. Because, like, on my days for streaming, I also am exporting to YouTube. I'm posting out tweets, and today's going to be busier because I'm going to be doing a lot of screenshot tweets, showing folks what you guys made. Um, it just becomes time consuming, and like I said, those that are trying to run a site or were trying to run a site, I can imagine it's like a full-time job. And to try and do that in addition to your regular life, which is probably includes a real life job, family time, and then just getting your gaming in, that's um, crazy. So yeah, hats off to those that actually can get it done and keep it going. Um, Granted, a lot of those types of groups actually have teams of people that they trust, that they will, get their part done, so that they can kind of, what do you call it, sort out different duties to each little, group. A lot of the ones that started up for WildStar, it was basically one person doing everything. Because I know the one that was doing the Living in WildStar site, it was just one guy doing the whole bit, importing all of the pictures, getting all of the information. There was a few contributions that he used, but like when you would submit a screenshot, it didn't. He was very, I don't know, particular about how the screenshots look. He wanted them all to kind of basically match. So you might send in something that had a different kind of background, and he wouldn't use it because he wanted it to look like all the ones he did. So he did them all himself. And that's just leads to burnout. If you put everything on your own shoulders, it's the same way with the guild. If it's just the guild leader doing everything and there's no officers to kind of mitigate all of that responsibility, then yeah, you're gonna have things just kind of build up and snowball and fester, and it just kind of goes. Yep, there we go. 30 minutes, folks, and the hot fix will come. I think they estimated about 45 minutes. Yeah, it's a hot fix coming in to fix an issue with Chua portraits or something like that. So yeah, it's just going to be down for about 45 minutes. But like I said, I wanted to do the stream before it hit because while they say 45 minutes, maybe something goes squirrely or a little wonky and it lasts a little longer, and I just didn't want to risk it. That's why we streamed early today. But yeah, so we're going to go ahead and wrap it up, guys. I hope you had fun. Again, I will be opening up Parsley's plot right after we close up. Of course, you won't be able to visit it until after the maintenance probably, but it'll be there. And of course, I will be tweeting out some screenshots from everybody. And of course, we have the video for posterity's sake. So if you did build something for this showcase, if you can, leave it up for about a week. That way, if anyone wants to come and see it in person, they can check it out up front and up close, kind of hands-on, dirty stuff. But then past that, if you want to ditch it, make room for something else, that's perfectly fine. you want to find a way to incorporate it into a different build, moving it off to a different character, that's also fine. You don't have to let me know about that. Just kind of give folks a little bit of time to come and see it in person if you can. But of course, be prepared next month for next month's theme. And in the meantime, I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. And good luck with your projects or whatever else you might be working on. And I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.